What's going on, everybody? This is James again, and this is going to be a little more of a personal video. Recently, things have come up where me and a couple other Shenmue people were talking about, what if Shenmue 3 was announced? And just the thought of Shenmue 3 coming out is, oh man, I don't even know where to begin, but start with a little, this. Whenever I think about Shenmue 3, man, gotta crack that beer open. Actually, it's not really beer, it's Angry Orchard. Don't know if you can see that too well. It's good stuff. Definitely try it out if you haven't. So anyway, Shenmue 3 is a very interesting subject to me because it's the culmination of a lot of ideas. Jesus Christ. Alright. So, yeah, Shenmue 3, as I said, is a culmination of ideas. And what I mean by that is that, by ideas, what I'm referring to is the sheer fact that every single day, sorry, I'm a little tired, a little sick. Every single day, me and, a bunch of people get together on the internet and we hypothesize about what might happen in Shenmue 3, what the resolution of Ryo's destiny is, and how, all these different characters that we all, grown to love, Shuing, Guizan, Ren, Ryo, Joy, Wang, Zhuyu Yonda, Long Sun Zhao, and all of those people, how do they all piece together into this final conclusion? There are so many plot holes that we don't understand. And let me list a couple of these plot holes. One major plot hole that kind of came up in conversation only yesterday was I was talking with one of the other admins of the Shenmue 500K Facebook page. So a plot hole is Zeeming Hong, Shuing's older brother. Okay. Now what we know is Shuing and Zeeming were orphans. Apparently their parents were killed, so to speak, or something happened to them because Zeeming left to get revenge on them. He went to the Chiyu Men, as we saw in Shenmue 2 in the flashback scene, which, by the way, that flashback scene takes place in an area that you can play in. I have a video showing me playing in that area. I will put it in the description below. You should check it out. So anyway, so he leaves to go to the Chiyu Men and to get revenge, or so he says, something along those lines. He either gets revenge or to find out information. Now, in Shenmue 2X, the Xbox version of Shenmue 2, there is a mini game where you can, well, not really a mini game, it's a feature or mode or whatever you want to call it. You're able to take snapshots of NPCs, and that will generate a biography for them. And if you, capture the right amount of people, you unlock side stories. And one of those side stories is one that focuses on Zeeming. And it shows him with Niao-san, right? Saying like, oh, Shuing, get well. He's holding an amulet that they were both holding. And the way he looks in that comic, if you were to cross-reference that with a picture of the 4 leaders of the Chiyu Men, it's obvious that Zeeming is one of the leaders. So he's an equal, if I understand this correctly, he is an equal to Niao-san. He is an equal to Lan Di. Now, we all know that Lan Di is very powerful and he's very important. That's why, he's like the one who comes and quote-unquote kills Iwao, because honestly, some of us don't even think he's dead. There's something more higher level going on here. Now, one of the plot holes that we don't understand is, for one, what happened with the parents? Why did Zeeming leave his young sister, who is an orphan, to go, and do this? And how is it that in such a small amount of time, now I think Zeeming was probably about 12 years old when he left, and he's, I'm assuming, like 30-something. In those 18 years, how is he able to rise all the way to the top to become one of the 4 leaders of the Chiyu Men? There's something weird going on. So I don't know if Zeeming's corrupted or he's taking them out from the inside, following his original idea of leaving. I don't know. It's all pure speculation. So that's one plot hole. Let's see. What's another plot hole? We don't know what happens to Guizan. What's going on with Guizan? How does Guizan come into play? Obviously, he's going to come back. He had a big role in Shenmue 1. For him to not be in the game anymore, that just seems a little weird. So Guizan currently is in Yokosuka, Japan, and he's healing his leg because at the end of Shenmue 1, actually, you know what? Before I say this, I am going to be spoiling the shit out of these two games. So if you haven't beaten Shenmue 1, and if you haven't beaten Shenmue 2, I stress to you, do not watch the rest of this video, okay? And why haven't you beaten them? What's wrong with you? I'm just kidding. So stop watching, and come back when you're done with the games. So also, this is going to be a little storyline heavy. So if you're a little unfamiliar with the some of the elements that I am discussing about, just replay the game. Focus on the area you don't really fully, completely comprehend. Okay, so going back to Guizan. So Guizan hurt his leg in the first Shenmue. Okay, we know that. We know that Ryo leaves Hong Kong without him. He leaves to go to Hong Kong without him, and Guizan was originally going to come. Okay, so now during the whole process that Ryo's going to Hong Kong, Guizan, is healing up. So at one certain point, Guizan heals himself, and now he's going to go and venture out. Okay. So, I think, in my own personal speculation, Guizan is most likely going to Hong Kong by the time that Ryo is in Guilin. However, what most people don't understand is that there is a way for Guizan to find Ryo. And this method has to deal with the fact that Guizan knows Joy. Okay? That's a very, very important thing to know. Guizan knows Joy. Okay, so in one of the other side story comics of Shenmue 2X on the Xbox, you can go and unlock a side story comic where Joy is talking to Guizan over the phone. And you see a little small segment where, Guizan saved Joy from whatever was going on. Now, in that comic, Joy mentions that she met a guy. Okay, she's obviously talking about Ryo. There's a little bit of symbolism in the end of the comic that makes that obvious, and it's kind of obvious. Everybody loves Ryo. It's fucking Ryo. Anyway, he's such an awesome guy, Mr. Monotone. So she's definitely gonna mention Ryo, and Guizan's gonna know that. He's going to know that because she's going to mention, he's going to make the connection. Now, if Master Chen sent Ryo to go see Li Xiaotao shooing, then it's obvious that they know where he is. They know that he's in Wanzai, and they know Joy is there. So maybe they knew about it the whole time. Maybe they knew that they were going to connect at a certain point. Maybe even Joy knew to look for him, which is why she almost runs his ass over to get that attention, and she keeps bothering him. Maybe Guizan told her to. So Guizan's gonna call Joy. Now Joy knows that Ryo went to Kowloon. Okay, that's another important thing because she follows him there. So Guizan can go to Joy, go to Hong Kong, and then follow Joy's advice to go to Kowloon and even meet Joy there. Joy can then say, Ryo met with Zhu Yonda. Or Yondazu if you played the Xbox version, which is a bastard version of the series. But anyway, it did give us some storyline things that we don't know, with the comics, which is kind of cool. But still, Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast, the Japanese version, not even the European version, that's the one you gotta play. If you can speak Japanese. If not, then, you can learn Japanese. It's really not that hard. So, Guizan's gonna follow Ryo. and eventually go to Kowloon, and then he's gonna know that Ryo met Zuyonda, and he can even talk to Zuyonda because it's obvious that Master Chen and Guizan have these awesome connections. So I'm sure if Guizan was like, hey, we need to talk, I'm sure he'll talk to him. Zuyonda, although I think that Zuyonda knows a lot more than he told Ryo, which will be a discussion for a whole nother time. He's gonna know that Zuyonda sent him to Guilin, which is also apparent because it's obvious Master Chen and Guizan know a lot about the mirrors. I mean, they were able to tell Ryo this whole back history, and Master Chen knew there were 2 mirrors, and he knew they were at the Hazuki Dojo. So they definitely know about the fact that Guilin is going to be a destination where Ryo winds up. So Guizan is most definitely going to meet with Ryo somewhere in the storyline. I want to say, a little further than we suspect, because there was a whole game that built up to where Guizan was going to go with him, and then it didn't happen, so I assume that they want a lot of more story to unfold by the time that Guizan reappears in the series. I also think that there's a little bit of back history, between Joy and Ren. They're about the same age. In Shenmue 2, I think Ren is 19, which is kind of crazy because I'm 25 and Ren looks a lot older than me. Plus he's jacked too, man. I wish I was fucking jacked like that, muscles and shit. But anyway, and Joy is 18 at the time of Shenmue 2, so they might have had a little history together. So I'm hoping there's a little bit of conflict between Guizan and Ren, just for a little bit of character development. So yeah, so that's 2 plot holes that we don't know. Third plot hole in Shenmue. Let me just gather my thoughts for a second here. Oh, this is a big one. So the third plot hole in Shenmue, and this is kind of a 2-parter, and I'm eventually going to make a discussion video about this, so I'm not going to really focus on it too much. The third major plot hole in Shenmue is who is the 4th leader of the Chiyumen, right? We know for a fact that Landi and Niao-san are 2 of the leaders. It's kind of obvious at this point that Ziming is the 3rd leader. There's a picture of the 4 leaders with 2 of them blacked out. Niao-san's legs are exposed and Landi is fully exposed. I don't know, maybe I could find a link to the photo and put it down below. If I don't, then I'm sorry. So, who is this 4th leader? A couple of people, including myself, think that it might be Baihu. And the reason for that will, take a little longer to explain. So that's going to be a whole other video. This is meant to be kind of a shorter discussion. So yeah, those are 3 plot holes that I could think of. A 4th plot hole that I will eventually make a video of is, what is Shenhua's role in all of this? What is her key factor? Why is she here? What does she do? Why is she so mysterious? Why in the Shenmue Online video and the Project Berkeley video does she have superpowers? Why is it that she's able to connect with her old ancestors, which was confirmed by Yu Suzuki as a feature or a gift, power, some type of supernatural ability that she has to do? And why is she so associated with the Shenmue tree? Okay, that'll be a discussion video for another time because the last time I spoke about it, it literally took an hour to explain everything because there's so much involved. Not to mention, Shenmue is entirely based off of a myth in Chinese mythology, the myth of the Qiyu and the Yellow Emperor, or the Heavenly Emperor, whatever you want to call him. So you have to kind of dive into that mythos to really understand everything. I understand it, so it's just very hard to kind of put into words. It's kind of like teaching somebody a new language. It's just hard to get all the information crammed into someone's head in a video. So anyway, so back to my original point. If Shenmue 3 was announced, oh man, that's gonna be an awesome time. I don't even know what the fuck I'd do. I'll probably run around in New York City, record myself screaming, "Shenmue 3 has been announced!" You know, definitely crack open a beer, hang out with some of my fellow admins. Love you guys. And, I don't know, man. Kick it back. Wait for the game to come out. And then hack the living shit out of the game to find out things. Cross-reference all the material in it with the current Shenmue 3-ish things that we have. You know, concept art with characters that never showed up. Loading screens in Shenmue 2 that don't even look like they exist. Like the Tiger Gate building, which is pretty awesome. You know, just shit like that. So, anyway, so that pretty much ends my very short discussion video. 15 minutes around, so... I hope you guys share the same type of speculation that I do. It's always good to think of, because it keeps it... Sorry, my laptop is about to shut off. It keeps it into, you know, the mainstream. Shenmue is a very, very rich and detailed storyline, and it's kind of hard to really work out some of these plot holes. So anyway, guys, as always, have a nice day.